Hi, my name is Sarah and I'm here with School Garden Project. Today we're going to be focusing on seeds and seed dispersal, or how seeds move away from the parent plant. If you have a pencil and paper, go ahead and get those ready to take notes and follow along. Feel free to pause the video for a moment to gather your materials. At the top of our page, let's write seed dispersal to title our notes. So what does seed dispersal mean? If I told a crowd they needed to disperse, it would mean that they need to spread out and move away from one another. There are many ways that seeds can move based on their structure, or what they look like, what their shape is. Why would they want to move? Well, let's think about it. What's the function or job of the seed? That's right, to grow a new plant. Plants often make hundreds of seeds. If all of those seeds fell off directly below the parent plant, do you think they would grow well? No, they'd be competing for water, for sunlight, for nutrients, and they wouldn't have enough space to grow. Before we begin, take a minute to think about if you already do know one way that seeds disperse. We'll be doing a quick drawing of each dispersal method and labeling them. That will be one line going down the center of the page and two lines going across the page, kind of spaced out, like this. They don't have to be perfect. It's just to give us 6 boxes to draw and label our notes. If you're not done with your drawing or writing before we move on to the next one, you can pause the video or wait until the end when the finished sheet will be left up on the screen. One common way for seeds to move is to fly or glide through the air. How many of you have seen what look like brown helicopters twirling down from trees in the fall? Those are maple tree seeds, and I bet you can imagine the puffy white ball that people blow on to make a wish. That's a dandelion flower seed. The individual puffs have a seed attached to the bottom. These seeds are light and fluffy, or have what looks like a propeller. So we will label this dispersal method fly or glide. Raise your hand if you've ever walked through a field and ended up with lots of sticky things on your socks afterwards, or maybe you've seen them stuck on a dog or cat's fur. These are called burrs, and if you magnify them, you can see they are covered in tiny little hooks. In the wild, they might hook onto an animal and then fall off away from the plant if their fur brushed up against a tree or bush. So we will call these sticky seeds. How many of you can imagine a coconut? Did you know that a coconut is a giant seed? They are hollow on the inside, which makes them float on water. Coconuts grow on trees. So if you imagine a coconut tree growing on a cliff, here's our tree, above the ocean. If a coconut fell off of that tree into the water, it could actually float to a whole other island and grow a new tree there. So some seeds are designed so they can float on water. We know from our plant part lesson that fruits are filled with seeds. The fruit is protecting them. How many of you like to eat fruit? Well, lots of animals like to eat fruit too, and then eventually, after eating them, they'll poop the seeds out later, and if they land in a good spot, they could grow there. It sounds gross, but it's not, it's just part of nature. Another example of this is finding an acorn tree growing in my garden bed. Did I plant that acorn? No. Who do you think planted that acorn in my garden bed? That's right, probably a squirrel. Many animals and birds store seeds to eat later, and they might not find all of them again. We will call seeds that move by getting eaten tasty seeds. Now imagine there is a big tree covered in round nuts. If a round nut fell from way up high out of that tree, would it stay right where it landed? What do you think? No. It would bounce and roll away. It's kind of shaped like a ball. So we will say that some seeds bounce and roll. And the last common way that seeds move is rather exciting and unexpected. Some seeds are inside pods shaped kind of like a pea or a bean. As these pods dry out, they get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until they fling open and the seeds explode out of them. So we will call these exploding seeds. Over the next week, challenge yourself to see how many seeds you notice. For example, outside on a walk or through your window. Remember to check out the structure and shape of the seed and see if you can figure out what their dispersal method is based on your observations.